I would say, just as a word of advice, trying to call them out and confront that and say, I know you're lying. You just said this, or I can get the recording to back up and I'll show you where you lied. But none of that's worth it. You don't want to get into those fights with this type
Yeah.
of person. It just
And
doesn't.
that and that's where it comes down to people believing in themselves and their own perception of reality. You notice that, now believe your eyes when
Right.
you see that, and
Yeah.
now act accordingly. But when people get really hell bent on, no, I need them to validate. I need to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
No, the way to hold them accountable is to enforce consequences with your actions, preferably cut them off and get out of there.
Yeah. I tell people you got to learn the language of disorder. You can't, because the language of logic is confronting somebody on something and then them taking accountability for it, admitting to it, and then you repair that rupture and you move on. That's the language of logic. The language of disorder is this person is going to convince you with all the hard evidence you have that that didn't happen, and you can't make sense out of that kind of nonsense. There's no point in trying to persuade or convince them that they need to fess up because they're not interested in solving the problem, right? So um, but I also 100% empathize and sympathize with this, like this ardent desire and this insatiable urge to try to get somebody to admit that they cheated or they lied or they weren't where they said they were, or that they were trying to manipulate you. It's just not. It's really not worth the energy because they aren't interested in collaborating in that way.